Automatic Addison.
In this tutorial, I will show you how to store your ROS2 project in a GitHub repository. In case you're not familiar with GitHub, GitHub is an online platform specifically designed for software development. It offers several key functionalities. Number one, version control. This allows you to track changes made to code over time. Think of it like a time machine for your code, letting you revert to previous versions if necessary. Number two, code storage. GitHub acts as a secure and centralized location to store and manage code projects. Think of it like cloud storage specifically for your code. Number three, collaboration. Teams can work together on projects by sharing code, discussing changes, and merging different contributions seamlessly. Number four, open source contribution. GitHub is a hub for open source projects where developers can publicly share their code, contribute to existing projects, and learn from others. So let's start off with some prerequisites. Okay, I am going to assume you've created a ROS2 workspace. All right, and mine is ROS2_WS. That's my workspace. And I have a package in there. Okay, and I'm assuming you have a ROS2 package that you want to put on GitHub. Mine's called ROS2 Fundamentals Examples. So cd source, cd ROS2 Fundamentals Examples. Here is my package. This is a package we've been developing over the last several tutorials. Okay, let's clear. The first thing you need to do is install Git. So make sure your terminal window is open and let's do sudo apt get update. Type the password. Okay, clear. All right, now let's do sudo apt get install git space and then -y to install it. I already have it installed. Okay, and let's check the version of Git we have. Git space -- version. Git version 2.43.0, which is the latest version. Now let's configure your GitHub username and email. So you're going to do git config space -- global and then user.name. Okay. And I'm going to, for my name, put it in quotes. And we're going to say automatic Addison, double quote. Got it in. Now let's do git config -- global user dot email. And I'm going to do quotes here and let's go automatic Addison at todo.com. Okay, and let's do git config -- global init dot default branch. Oops. Default branch and then main. Okay, so there we go right there. Now we're going to go into the package that you're in. I'm already in the package. And let's do git init. Initialize GitHub repository. So this command right here enables you to start tracking changes to the files within that directory. Okay, let's clear. Now I want you to add the files in your folder to the repository with the following command. Git add. My D key is stuck. There we go. Git add and then period. Okay, then do git commit. Okay, so we just added the files in your folder to the repository, and now you need to commit your stage files to your local repository with the following as git commit m initial commit. Okay, so you've got a local repository. So you added files, okay? So you put them to a staging area, and then you commit those files to your local repository using git commit -m and then initial commit. Initial commit's just the message that we add that tags that commit. And then enter. Now we need to create the remote repository on GitHub. Let's do that now. Okay, we're going to go to GitHub, github.com. I'm going to log in, sign in. Okay, and now I've got two-factor authentication set up on my cell phone. So make sure, one thing that's really key is I'm assuming at this stage you've got a github.com account. If not, you need to create the account. And that's how you can set up this two-factor authentication. And I'm going to go to my two-factor authentication now. Let's do that. Okay, so after you sign in, I go over here to the upper right. I click on your repositories. And I've got a list of all of my repositories, both public and private. All right, you can see that here. Now we are going to click the plus icon in the upper right and click New Repository. Create a name for your repository. I'm going to call it ROS2 Fundamentals Examples. Okay, it already exists, so I'm going to call it ROS2 Fundamentals Examples. And let's add another tag. Let's call it, what's a good thing to call it? Let's do tutorial. Actually, I'm going to do ROS2 Fundamental Examples. Let's do tutorial. Tutorial ROS2 Fundamentals Examples. It's the most future-proof way to do this. Actually, what I will do is let's prepend it with the Jazzy. Yeah, Jazzy. Jazzy. G-A-Z-Z-Y. Okay, and then ROS2 Fundamentals Examples. So Jazzy ROS2 Fundamentals Examples. So I'm prepending it with the version of ROS2. So I'm going to do this in the future. Same thing. But you can call your repository name whatever you want to do. All right, and description, that is optional. I'm just going to, what's a good description here? Let's think. Let's just say basic examples. Demonstrating ROS2 concepts. Okay. Ignore the rest of the options. We've got public. Okay, add a README. We can ignore that. License. You can ignore that. Okay, and let's click Create Repository. So after creating your repository on GitHub, you'll get a URL that looks like this, okay? So the URL for the repository will look just like this. Now go back to the terminal window. It's clear. We're inside our package, all right? And I want you to link your local repository to GitHub with this command. Remember, we're inside the package where we ran git init. And so let's do git remote add origin and then the URL. Where do we get it? Where do we get it? We get it over here. Press this little copy icon on the right. All right. And then type the URL. Just like that. Enter. All right. Now go back to your GitHub. Okay. So here we're on our main GitHub. I just click my username. So now I've logged in. I'm in my main GitHub dashboard. Click my username in the upper left. All right, and now let's create a fine-grained personal access token. A personal access token is like a special key that lets you access your GitHub account from other apps or scripts. It's more secure than using your password because you can control what the token is allowed to do. So make sure you verified your GitHub email address if you haven't already verified it. So I'm assuming you've already verified it by now. GitHub is pretty on you about verifying your email address when you sign up. So you probably have already done that. Now, in the top right corner of the GitHub page, I want you to click on your profile picture and go down to Settings. All right, so click on Settings. Now, in the left sidebar of the Settings page, scroll down until you see Developer Settings. Click on Developer Settings. In the left sidebar, under Personal Access Token, click Fine Grained Tokens. Okay. Now click Generate New Token in the upper right. Now under Token Name, I want you to enter the name for the token. So I'm going to say Ubuntu Jazz. I'm going to say Jazzy ROS2 _ tutorials. All right, just creating a token name, and under resource owner, select a resource owner. That's going to be me, Automatic Addison. Okay, and note that the token will only be able to access resources owned by the selected resource owner. So now under expiration, select an expiration date for the token. Let's just do something like, see how far we can go out here. Let's do a year from now. So I'm going to go 04/11/2026. See if it takes that. Yep. Okay, and under repository access, select which repositories you want the token to access. And I'm going to click here, only select repositories. And I'm going to click Jazzy ROS2 Fundamentals Examples right here, which is a repository that I have that I created earlier. Now, under permissions, select which permissions to grant the token. Depending on which resource owner and which repository access you specified, there are repository and account permissions. You should choose the minimal permissions necessary for your needs. So I'm going to click repository permissions, and I will grant read and write permissions to virtually all the resources. We've got to go through these each one by one. Read and write, read and write. Read only, if it's just got an option of no access and read only, just do read only. Read and write, 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 read and write. Let's keep going through one by one, one by one, one by one, one by one, one by one. Oh, all right. Okay. Count permissions. Let's do read and write. Read only, read and write. Okay, we went through them all. Both repository permissions and account permissions. You should have them both. And you should choose the minimal permissions necessary for your needs. So again, I'm granting read and write permissions to all of the resources. If read and write is not available for a particular resource, just select read only. All right, now click Generate Token. Click Generate Token. Now you need to copy the personal access token that you see and save it somewhere safe. Click on the right side, copy, and save it somewhere. Okay, now we need to push your code from your local repository, which is the folder on your computer, to the GitHub remote folder. And we do that like this. Inside the package now, and we do git push space -u and then origin main. Enter your GitHub username. Now, when it asks for your password, you need to enter the personal access token you created in the previous section. So let's do that now. I posted my personal access token on Notepad. I'm just going to go in here and I'll right click and then paste the whole thing. And there we go. There we go. My friends, we are up and running. We are rock and roll. So with this command, we have created a two-way connection between your local code and GitHub. So that git push u origin main command uploads your local code to GitHub while simultaneously setting up a tracking relationship between your local and remote branches. That u right there, which means upstream flag, tells Git to remember this connection. So in the future, you can simply use git push or git pull without needing to specify where to push or pull from. Origin refers to your GitHub repository, and main is the name of your branch. Now, if you go back to GitHub, you're going to open Firefox here. Just click that open. So we're now in GitHub, and there is our repository. Pretty cool. Our whole repository in all of its glory. So now when you make changes on your computer to any of the code, what you want to do, when you make big changes to your code within your package, you do git, add, and then period. All right. And then after that, you'll do git commit space -m, and then description of changes. All right. You do that. So the git add command adds the changes to a staging area. It gets them ready to be uploaded, put to your local repository. All right. And then the git commit actually gathers all these files in a neat pile into your local repository. All right. And then after that, you would do the git push. So let's walk through that again. Let's go to get it, readme. Okay, and let's make a small change. ROS2 must be installed. Save. Just a small change to the readme. All right, let's clear git status. So we can see that we just modified the readme file. I did the git status command. So now let's add these changes to the staging area. ADD. My D key is not working. There we go. Git add and then period. Need to get that fixed. So that's how you add the changes. All right. Now we need to commit these changes to our local repository. Git commit -m and then edited read me file. So that git commit, just to explain, that command saves these changes to your local repository on your computer with the message explaining what you did. It's like putting that pile of files into a labeled folder. All right. Now we need to get all this stuff up to GitHub. And we do git push. You type your username. And then you need to get your personal access token. And we pushed. And that's how we do it. That's how we do it. How we do it. This is how we do it. All right, so that's what you do. So when you make changes on your code, you repeat those 3 steps when you want to update your code on GitHub. That's it. So let's just do a quick review. Git add is what prepares files. That command picks up all your new code changes and gets them ready to be saved. It's like gathering up all your files into a neat file. Git commit saves the changes on your computer with a message explaining what you did. It's like putting that pile of files into a labeled folder. Okay, and then you do git push. Git push uploads the code to GitHub. Think of it like uploading your folder to the cloud so others can see it and you have a backup. And then git pull downloads updates that you make on GitHub. So let me show you that now in the terminal. So if you're working with other people, you should always download the changes first using git fetch. Okay. Again, the command is git fetch. This gets all the changes that have been made on GitHub. Okay. So, because it could be that somebody else is working on the project, the GitHub repository you're working on, they made some changes, pushed it up to GitHub. So you want to make sure you get those latest changes before you start hacking away and doing all your changes in your own code. So you run a git fetch from within your workspace, from within your package. So let's do a clear. Then do a git status to check on the status. We're all up to date with the origin, which is what's on GitHub. That's good. And then you would get, if you aren't up to date, you would do a git pull to get all the changes. But in our case, we're already up to date. So we don't need to actually do anything. So just to review that, git fetch checks GitHub to see what changes exist. It's like looking at a list of updates available, but not downloading them yet. It tells you what's different between your code and the code on GitHub. Git status shows you exactly what's different, okay, between your local code and the code on GitHub after you've fetched. It's like comparing your version with GitHub's version to see what's changed. And then git pull actually downloads these changes from GitHub to your computer, bringing your local code up to date. It's like clicking download on those updates you found with git fetch and git status. So these 3 commands help you safely check for and get any updates before you start working, which helps avoid conflicts with other people's code changes. And that, my friends, is how you save your ROS2 project on GitHub. Thank you for watching and keep building.